everyone. Welcome to another episode of the show. I have a very, very special guest. I know I often say this because I just appreciate every one of my guests, but she is particularly and truly very, very special. This is my very own sister. Yes, I'm bringing you into the fold, you guys. You know you're special if I'm allowing you to access my people, okay? So welcome her, treat her kindly, or else, you know the drill. This is my older sister, Vivian. Welcome, Vivian. I'm so excited that you're on the show.
Thank you. Thank you. It's my honor.
I'm really happy that you're here. It's new for me. It's a new chapter to actually bring people of my inner circle into this world because for the past it's been just various people I've met through the online communities or experts of various fields. So lately I've been thinking, why not bring in, if they're interested, some people from my closest friends and family and bring you into the whole world that is music and psychology. I know you have so many valuable things to share. I'm excited to have you on the show. You guys make sure to watch all the way throughout. I'll have pop-up links and all the buttons that you need. Make sure as you're listening to check out the description from the start where you can find Vivian's socials and all the things she has in the works. And we'll talk about that in just a little bit. But have a look around, subscribe. I'm going to share something very special with my sister today. Vivian, you told me you have never heard of James Blunt before. Is that right?
That's right. I have not.
Okay. Okay. And the song is called Monsters. Now, I let you know it's heavy. There's a lot to talk about, but I didn't tell you what exactly it's about. What does the word monsters make you think of when you hear that? Where does your mind naturally go?
Naturally thinking of music and monsters, I would naturally go down the route of us as artists. We use words with purpose and yeah, definitely internal struggle, conflict, push and pull, light and dark. That's right off the bat where I could see this going as since we're talking about music and that's my
Okay.
jam too.
I like it.
Oh, before they turn off all the lights, I won't read you your wrongs or your rights. The time has gone. I'll tell you good night, close the door. Tell you I love you once more. The time has gone, so here it is. I'm not your son, you're not my father. We're just two grown men saying goodbye. No need to forgive, no need to forget. I know your mistakes and you know mine. And while you're sleeping, I'll try to make you proud. So daddy, won't you just close your eyes? Don't be afraid. It's my turn to chase the monsters away. Oh, well, I'll read a story to you. Only difference is this one is true. The time has gone. I folded your clothes on the chair. I hope you sleep well, don't be scared. Time has gone, so here it is. I'm not your son, you're not my father. We're just two grown men saying goodbye. No need to forgive, no need to forget. I know your mistakes and you know mine. And while you're sleeping, I'll try to make you proud. So daddy, won't you just close your eyes? Don't be afraid. It's my time to chase the monsters away. Sleep a lifetime, yes, and breathe the last word. You can feel my hand on your You're not my father. We're just two grown men saying goodbye. No need to forgive, no need to forget. I know your mistakes and you know mine. And while you're sleeping, I'll try to make you proud. So daddy, won't you just close your eyes? Don't be afraid. It's my turn to chase the monsters away.
Oh man, he's singing from the middle of his process. He's in the middle of the process. It's a contradiction because he's singing in the chorus that you're not my father and I'm not your son, but that's exactly who you are and who he is. But how often do we have to get to that point in our mind to be able to digest, to be able to see our broken parents as another human rather than our parent, to be able to deal with it? Man. But yeah, it's never a child's responsibility to chase the monsters away for the parent, ever. Doesn't matter if you're 8 years old or 80 years old. But man, I love music because it's the sound of our soul, whatever comes out, whatever we're in the middle in, or what we've come out of. But yeah, that's you can tell that whenever he recorded that, is still smack in the middle of that painful process. I know because I've been there. I've gotten to that point of seeing my parents as not taking them away from the mom and the dad plateau that we have them on naturally. And through God's grace and his eyes, being able to see them as another adult, like how he sings, "You're not my father and I'm not your son." But then right after he says, "Daddy," it's
Ooh,
the
that's a
soul's
great
cry.
that actually is very poignant. I did not notice that when I first time I listened to that. Good point. He's taking away that plateau and he's leveling the plains. We're just people, basically, but then still calls him daddy. So there is still a dynamic. There's reason
And there
there's
always
tears,
will
right?
be. Yeah, there always, we can't take that away. But
Right.
in a sense, we have to be able to get to heal. That having to remove them from that plateau that it's innate in us to look at our mom and our dad like that. Because there are our parents. They are the ones that are supposed to chase the monsters away, defend us from the monsters,
Yeah.
teach us how to fight the monsters. They're the ones that make sure that the night light's left on so we're not afraid at night. It's never a child's responsibility to do that for the parents.
Mm-hmm.
But in our humanity of growing up and digesting these things, you have to remove the people from the role and the title. So removing them from that role and the title and looking at him like he sings in that chorus, he's working at seeing his dad as just another man, removing the father-son dynamic. But you cannot ever remove that. Like we can change the trajectory of our lives, but we can't change our DNA.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good
You
point.
know,
Yeah. Yeah.
so he's always going to be the son. Now, it's a wonderful and blessed thing that we have this ability to heal and to be able to see our parents as, rather than looking at them through the lens of the pain that you've instilled on me and that you've caused me, seeing, if it's the same gender parent, right? For me, that would be my mother, just like for him, it's his father. And with our history and my history and the physical abuse with my mother, to see her as just as a wounded woman who was a wounded and abused girl herself at one point, and being able to look at her woman to woman, and that helping me extend grace
Yes.
and compassion. And also it does invoke in you, if you love someone, you always want to protect them.
Of course.
So it's natural for him, which is why it's no surprise that he what is that, when man einfädelt, what is that
Yeah.
word in
He's
English?
weaving it in. He's weaving a
Yes,
thread
yeah,
in.
when he weaves in the word daddy, right after that statement of, "I'm not your son and you're not my father," it's like he has to categorize that to be able to set it aside, to be able to, sometimes you got to be able to set it aside so you can talk about it, so you can look at it, so you can heal. It has to be outside of you for you to able to even grasp it, you know?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
but
I see what you're saying, like the almost like the detaching or dissociating it from it for a time or to a degree to be able to work through it. So you're not
yes,
so ingrained in all of it or enmeshed in all
yes,
the heaviness and the emotion.
yeah, because otherwise it'll consume you.
Mhm.
Staying in that place will only consume of the inside because it never causes us to look at something from the outside of ourselves,
Yeah.
you know,
People
because
Sorry, I didn't mean to
no,
interrupt
no,
you.
no,
People were
no.
telling me in the comments after I had reviewed it that his father had been going through something. I don't know if it was with the kidneys, he was doing a kidney transplant, or there was some issue where James Blunt, I think, thought that his dad was not going to make it, and this was his way of trying to deal with and prepare for his father's death. And then things worked out, and his dad is still with us for now, and hasn't gone yet. But it was, I guess, a phase or a season where he thought very much any day now this was the end, and it was his way of trying to deal with that, turning off the lights and trying to be there for his dad to be able to now go to sleep in peace, if you will. You said earlier that there should never be a time, for kids to have to chase away the monsters of their parents. Do you feel like when we're looking at death or the end of a life, that that rule still applies, or is there ever a time when it's okay to hold our parents' hands in the sense of sending them off now, turning off the lights for them to be able to go to sleep in peace in the face of death now in that context, not
Yeah, for
throughout
sure.
life.
I think if we love our parents, we always should, you know, like anyone we love, we should be there for them in that sense, you know? If we're talking about, I feel like that song is more than just the end of life death though, because the words that he chose tell
Mhm.
a story of a very unique, there's more to him and his father's relationship than my dad has kidney issues and is about to pass away. This is
Correct.
not the only thing we're talking about. This
Yes.
is, he is the, the kidney end of death scare story
Yeah.
is obviously maybe the catalyst for this song to come out, but is also when we choose verses in a song versus a chorus in a song, a chorus is a repetition of something that is felt and that we repeat over and over again versus a verse is something we highlight, we talk about it, now we're back to the chorus. And now we talk about this verse, we highlight it, we're back to the chorus. The chorus, the chorus is the period in the sentence for me. So
Okay.
while now that you mentioned that other people are saying, well, kidney, end of life, sadness, letting go, I can totally see that. But that's not the chorus of the song. The chorus of the song is highlighting
Yeah.
a struggle with a man and his father and a father with his son.
Mhm.
There being something there that is needing to be dealt with, which talking about end of life scare could absolutely be a catalyst. If your
Yeah.
parent is about to pass away
Yeah.
and you have these things, of
Yeah,
course,
yeah.
now you're going to talk about them even more so because your
Yeah.
parents' life might
Yeah.
be cut
Yeah.
short,
Yeah, yeah.
right? Like let's talk about forgiveness and healing and you really oftentimes in life people don't get to the point to where they even want to deal with these things unless it's oh my gosh so and so is about to die or something and
Right.
then everybody oh let's deal with our issues and you're like bro we could have done this the last 40 years hello why do we gotta wait you know but
Yeah.
sadly it's our human nature it's not until the poop hits the fan that all of a sudden everybody's like oh let's do something about it you're like bro you know we could have had a better relationship sooner. I'm not
Vivian over
saying
here,
that
I've been saying this.
I know,
No,
right?
I like
I
that you pointed it out because you're right. That might have been the catalyst. I like how you worded that. But there are layers of a relationship, a lifetime of relationship that has led to this. And you
yeah,
pointed out the word forgiveness. If he's speaking of there's nothing to forget or to forgive because he's now choosing to let that part go, that doesn't mean that there was nothing to forgive all this time. Because if we're speaking of forgiveness, if we feel the need to even mention that word, then surely at some point there was something to be forgiven. There was something worth forgetting.
yes. I'm so glad you brought that up because that was something I thought about when I listened to that song because he mentions that a few times. Isn't it like the second part of the chorus where he says, nothing to forgive, da 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 da? You can't ever say that because 9 times out of 10, there is always something to
To
forgive
forgive. Yes.
because we are
Otherwise, why
human.
mention it, right?
Exactly. We're obviously making a statement of a dynamic in a parent and child relationship that needs some attention,
Yes.
right? That is unhealthy. So the song is contradictory, which is why I said I could tell that he's in the middle of the healing process. Because when you write a song and you've come out of it, it sounds different. You know, your words are different. You know, you are my father and I am your son, and yet I still forgive you and I love you, you know, and I have chosen to, and I will choose to forgive you, like I choose with my mother, and will even when days come up where something triggers your mind, you know what I mean, and you say, no, I choose to forgive that. I let that go. I let go of the weight of what was done. And here's the thing is, when we're talking to with how people deal with grief when it comes to the end of a life, since this is all kind of like, you know, together, the parent and child dynamic, and then the possibility of the health scare, end of life, dealing with things. In the secular world, you always hear the forgive and forget, which is impossible. You're never going to forget anything. And forgiving does not mean forgetting. How do I explain that? What I'm trying to say, it's an easy thing for people to say when it comes to the end of someone's life, to say, "Ah, I just forgive and I forget," right? Because of the weight of this person that you love is not going to be here on earth with us anymore. And to people that don't have hope of what comes after, that is, that's the end of the end for them. And that is something that is so heavy to deal with that most people shy away from dealing with those things. And in shying away from those things, they're quick to say what he says when he says, nothing to forgive, nothing to forget. It's like, it's part of the process of the word that you said earlier wasn't desensitizing. It
It
was
was
when
detaching when you were
detaching.
explaining,
Yes.
sometimes looking at it from the outside.
Yeah. Yeah. To me, that belongs in that same group of the whole overall thing of detaching. You're trying to heal. And in that healing process, there has to be some level of detachment. And with that detachment can easily say, oh, you just forgive, right? For instance, saying, let's say there's somebody in town that really hurts your feelings or whatever, right? And then they pass away. And then you run into some other people from town in the grocery store and they happen to bring it up. That person is now gone and dead. 9 times out of 10, if you're a decent human being and someone else brings it up, what are you going to say? Ah, that's forgiven. That's forgotten. Because of the weight of death. The problem is the weight of death doesn't change. The weight of death is still there and is still the same. But the weight of the pain of carrying unforgiveness and of the bitterness that it breeds and of the way it toxifies us and ourselves. One doesn't negate the other. So I can understand in this song how we want to detach from those things. We want to say, I'm not your son, you're not my dad. We're going to deal with this mano a mano, nothing to forgive, nothing to forget, kind of like you're pushing it away. In a sense, because you're dealing with a lot of those things and they're heavy, and I think it's part of the struggle, but I believe and I know for there to be wholeness and healing afterwards, at some point in time, we have to allow those things to reconcile each other, where you can,
Yeah. No, I
where
didn't
you can
interrupt.
still be, no, that's okay. I was just going to say, where you can still see that that is your parent, that you're still the child, that the pain was still inflicted, that you still can forgive, that there still can be wholeness, and that there still can be the weight and the heaviness of death that's looming, if that makes sense.
It does. You mentioned that, people sometimes tend, in the face of that weight of death and of the end, that people sometimes tend to detach and say, ah, forgive and forget. Is it possible, though, that here he is not saying that lightly, but he is able to genuinely say, it's man to man now. It's no longer father's son. We forgive, we forget, because he had a father who would chase the monsters away for him. Is it possible that, it seems, at least here on video, I don't know what happened behind closed doors in their life, but I'm assuming, just from the sense I get in the music video, from the lyrics, that there was perhaps a healthy father-son relationship, a present father who actually did chase monsters away and turned off the light. Could it be possible that when people actually have that conclusion in the process of healing, that conclusion of saying, there's nothing else to forgive and forget, it's man to man now, it's my turn now to lay you to rest. Is it possible that's easier when you've had that kind of father or mother that chases monsters away versus the kind of parents that are the monster, Is it possible that affects?
I'm sure. I'm sure, like, you mean that it's easier?
Yeah, that he had it seems like
Yeah.
maybe he had a good father and, there was a healthy relationship. His father actually chased his monsters away, wasn't a monster to him, so now it's easier to say, "You know what? Now it's my turn. I can close the door for you and turn off the lights and let you go into eternity and into towards death." And he maybe means there's nothing to forgive or to forget because maybe the mistakes weren't that huge, for one, but also because there was a healthy relationship. How much do you think having that versus not having that affects how much we're able to mean that when we say nothing else to forgive?
I mean, yeah, I think it depends on the situation, you know. If you had those kind of parents that protected you when you were young and vulnerable, and now they're old and vulnerable, I would assume that it should come a lot more natural and easy. But if that's the case, he definitely didn't convey that in the chorus of his song. The chorus of his song definitely points in a different direction. And if it's not, I would be interested to see what did he mean by that, because the chorus of his song doesn't tell a story of you protected me from you know what I mean? Like
Yeah. Well, he said
the
it's
way
my
that,
turn now to change the mantra. He said, no need to forgive, no need to forget. I know your mistakes and you know mine. And while you're sleeping, hold on, let me pull them up. While you're sleeping, Daddy, I'm trying to make you proud.
yeah,
What does
close
it
your
say?
eyes, I'll make you proud.
Yes, he says, I'm not your son, you're not my father. We're just two grown men saying goodbye. No need to forgive, no need to forget. I know your mistakes and you know mine. And while you're sleeping, I'll try to make you proud. So, Daddy, won't you just close your eyes? Don't be afraid. It's my turn to chase the monsters away. I emphasized my, but I'm assuming, that's his way of
Yeah,
saying you did it. Now it's my turn. But you're interpreting the chorus more as you're hearing more
the first two
about
lines.
forgiveness,
Yeah, the first two
mistakes.
lines. Can you read those first two lines again?
Absolutely. Matter of fact, let me pull it up so people can read along real quick. 1 second. So right here it says, I'm not your son, you're not my father. We're just two grown men saying goodbye. No
Yeah,
need to
right there.
forgive, no need to forget. Mm-hmm. Okay. So talk to me about
I'm
that.
not
Where's
your
your mind
son and
on?
you're not my father. Why?
Is it maybe because death just kind of equalizes it all at that point when we're all facing the end?
If you have a loving relationship with your parent, to me, it would not void it out. It would make it deeper.
I see. Interesting. This is
If,
why I love
if
hearing
the
different people's
closer we're
views
getting,
because I like
yeah,
that.
like if we're so close to death,
Okay. That's interesting.
and at that point, I am my daughter's equal.
Interesting, okay. Maybe just like
My
we're all
daughter
just
said to me,
humans.
close that,
Okay.
yeah, you're not my mom and I'm not your daughter. That would break me.
Really? Okay, okay, this is interesting.
You
Okay, and
know,
why?
like,
So do you feel like when the end comes and it's all just a matter of life or death, dead or alive, now for you that those titles don't fall away, they become more important. Is
yeah,
that right?
especially,
Okay,
yeah, yes, because
okay.
it highlights the depth of the relationship. Like, I mean, come on. If my daughter has attitude and she calls me by my first name, excuse me, like I am not Vivian to you.
Yeah.
I'm your mom. I get it. You're
Okay,
not always gonna like me. I get that. But
okay.
when she's like sick or lonely, mama, like I'm your mom. If my daughter writes a song and the first two lines of the chorus, you're not my mom and I'm not your daughter, there's a problem.
Interesting.
To
Okay.
me, why?
Yeah.
What that tells me there's some pain there. And I asked you when we were watching that video if that was him because I
Mhm.
could see. I was like, there's no way that he got someone to act.
No, 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 that's him.
Yes,
That's
those are
him.
it has to be
I
him.
noticed I said the same thing in my review. I said those look like real tears to me, and that was
That's
his
him.
real
Yes,
father. It's him and
yes,
it's
and
his
it
real
was
father.
yes. And there's pain. I can see it. I can feel it. It's coming out through there's pain there. There's something that's there where back to that. And then you bring up, well, there's nothing to forgive. There's nothing to forget. Man, there's always something to forgive.
Yeah,
If
well,
I'm
to
not
the
forgiving someone, it's forgiving myself for, like there's always,
Mhm. Well, it's like we said earlier, if we mentioned that there's nothing to forgive, then there clearly was something to forgive that now requires me to dismiss said
yes,
thing that needed to be forgiven.
yes, it could be
Yeah.
something that I didn't do.
Yeah, yeah. Of
I
omission. Yeah,
might
yeah.
have to forgive myself for something that I didn't do,
Okay. Okay.
in both ways. But yeah, and I mean, and he titled the song Monsters. So it's
Mhm.
not, if he came from that angle of where you said, could it be, him having this healthy relationship, the song would sound different. the song would be
Rest in peace
My
or something.
Dad,
I
My
mean, yeah.
Protector. You know, my dad, my protector. You fought them away. You taught me I had nothing to fear because,
Mhm.
you know, like you looked out for me and now I'm strong and I get to do the same for you. And
Could that just be because, calling the song Monster Chaser Away or something like that is not as intriguing? Is it possible that they titled it Monsters to leave that double, triple entendre possibility of this could go
no,
either
I think
way?
it is. No, I really think it is what it's meant to be. And I think it's so straightforward that we can always get caught up in the hypothesis of which, you know, like, and we love to do that. I love to do that
Yes,
too.
I love to do that.
You know, like,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
look at all the sides of the coins and what
Okay.
could this be and all those things. But oftentimes, more than not, when something is straight and blunt in our face, it is what it is.
When it's blunt in our face. I see what you did there. James Blunt.
There you go.
I love that. Oh, no, pun not intended. I love it. But okay, that makes actually really good sense because even though it could be, an artistic choice of to get people's attention, it really it leaves the monsters, the topic of the monster in the room. And when we're looking at parent-child dynamics, a lot of times monsters is a giant conversation, not only in the sense of chasing the monsters away for the little kids that are afraid of the dark, but actually monsters, parent being the monsters, kids acting like monsters. So I love hearing different people's perspective on different things because it's fascinating to see the things you're picking up on that I didn't even think of.
Yeah.
And I see a lot of validity in that. It makes sense that your mind would go there. If I may ask, feel free to share as little or much as you like. When you were listening, how did you feel? What was your felt experience and your personal takeaway for you? Again, share as much or little as you're comfortable with.
For me, like just watching the video,
Just as you listened and watched, I saw your face. You didn't get super emotional, but I could see you were like processing and. How did it affect you? How did you feel? What's your personal takeaway?
yeah. Well, I've never heard him or his music, but my personal takeaway was just it was great to see an artist and a musician putting his music and himself out there. It was obviously he's talented musically. It was just great to see an artist just be raw and share, and his song definitely conveyed the struggle and that at the end of the day he has love for his dad, like he loves his dad, and it's not simple and it's
Mm,
complicated and there's a lot to it and there's a lot of layers to it, and he did a good job at conveying that. And I think being in his own music video was really the best part of it, because you can't hire someone to convey your own emotions. Like that has to be there. So I think he did a really nice job in processing. Isn't that what we do with our music, right? It helps us
yes.
process our own
Yeah.
emotions and everything. And it takes boldness to do that and to put yourself out there in the world, to have people talk about it and interpret it. And what if this and what if that? And, like nitpicking your own life apart. And it could be something completely different. We don't know the nuances and the life and all those things, but music is universal and music does tell a story, which is why we love it.
Yes.
And so I'm inclined to say that probably a lot of things that come out of these things are pretty spot on, because you can see his pain, how he chooses to sit next to, I assume that older man that was sitting next to him in the video
That
was
was
an
his
actor.
dad. No, that was actually his dad.
That's his real dad?
That was his real dad.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting. I wasn't sure about that.
It was his real dad when he put his arm on him.
Yeah, he put his arm on his dad's arm like that too. Interesting. Yeah, I wasn't sure if that was his dad or not.
Mm-hmm.
But that also says something when you
What does
look
that
at
say to you?
what does it say to me?
Mm-hmm.
That he loves his dad, but you can tell that there's walls.
Yeah.
Because when I saw, I wasn't 100% sure if that's his dad or not. But I tell you what, when you see my sons next to my husband, you're going to know that they're father and sons in a healthy relationship, if I may say. When we're not there, it's just how it is,
Yeah.
Like if I'm sitting next to my mom, you're going to be able to tell it's my mom because we look like each other.
Yeah.
But you're going to be able to tell my body language that I'm kind and open, but I'm guarded. And, like
Yeah. Yeah.
our body language says so much.
Mm-hmm.
But it's probably a beautiful thing that he got to, have his dad in his music with him. And
Yeah.
it's a beautiful thing because I can see that out of those things and out of those moments, a lot of healing comes.
I was just thinking that I'm like, maybe that's part of the healing process too, that creative
Yeah, I'll
outlet
guarantee you.
and his dad participating in this,
Yes,
hearing these words.
yes. I
Yeah.
guarantee you, if we were to ask him, like, did you guys have a good time together after you shot that video, whatever. I could imagine him saying, "Yeah, we went and had lunch," or you know what I mean? Like I don't
Yeah, yeah,
know,
yeah.
but
Yeah,
like
yeah,
when
yeah.
you're in it and you're digesting these things with the very people that you're digesting these things with,
Yeah,
that can only, if they're willing to digest them too, it can
yeah.
only end up getting deeper and better, you know?
Yes.
Doesn't make it easy,
Yeah, yeah.
but it brings good fruits
Yes.
out of it.
I
Yeah.
appreciate you sharing your thoughts on it. I like to see where your mind went. It's very fascinating to me how everyone has a different take or will notice different things and it'll mean different things to us based on everyone's
Yeah.
experience. I really appreciate you sharing that. Speaking of going deeper and there being a fruit, you've been through your own journey in life, plenty, and there are fruits and a beautiful journey in your life. Tell me a bit what you're working on right now or where people can dive more into all things Vivian Mullen, your podcast, other projects? Where can people find your work? Because you are not just a fellow reactor with me right now. You have all your own projects and all your own fruit of your labor that you're working on. Where can people go
Yeah.
to support you?
Yeah. So Jeremy and I, my husband, we started our podcast that we had on our hearts since 2020. And so we started that last year and we have that on YouTube and social media platforms, I think Facebook and Instagram. It's called Forged from Fire Ministries, but our podcast is Mullen It Over.
Okay.
Because we're the Mullins and we like to mull things over similar to the way that you're doing it, just in different setting, about
Yeah.
different things, but also really talking about hard topics and topics that we believe that should be spoken about in public and in churches and just on the town square more, because people perish at the lack of wisdom and knowledge, and we really need to dig deep in those things. So we have the Mulling It Over podcast, and that's still a work in progress. I mean, with editing and all of those things is so much work. It's a lot of
Mm-hmm.
work. But the big thing right now is I'm finishing a book that I wrote last year, and it's called The Leadership Dare. And it's called Preach or Perish. And really, I wouldn't even call it just a book. It's definitely not a devotional. It is a training manual. And finishing up the last 2 chapters now. And it's really a call to action for especially here people in America, especially believers, and what that looks like in our daily life and what it's supposed to look like. Taking out a lot of the Christianese verbiage and slang and unmuddying the waters with just simplicity and truth. And so I'm finishing the last few chapters now with the editing team, and I'm excited to see how it finishes coming together and what's going to happen with that. But it really is my prayer and my goal that it brings forth good fruit. It has 18 short chapters, and each chapter highlights an area that you get to analyze yourself and see where you stand. What do you think about this? Do you believe this? And what do you believe? And it helps each person come to their own resolve and to their own understanding of where they stand with certain things, and then how to put those things into action. What does that look like in our daily life? So that's really the training manual style that makes this book so different. So I'm really excited, and it's my challenge and my prayer that people will see it as a dare and that they'll take the dare, and that out of
Nice.
that only good can only good can come when we allow ourselves to be subject to the process. So, and I get it. It's the hardest thing. Comfort is neurologically the hardest thing to break, because our nervous system is wired for comfort and we love that. But biologically, when breaking comfort, it releases the same hormones in your body as fear does. So biologically, our mind can get stuck in a place of familiarity, which is comfort, but we will always be capped of growth if we remain there. So we really need to, and having faith is really that catalyst that gives us that strength that is outside of ourselves, right? Because I can't save myself. Tried it, didn't work. But yeah, so a lot of good things on the horizon and a lot of work. I feel like it's been a season of a lot of, when you tend to the fields and there's really, the fruit is coming, and little seeds are growing under the ground, and but it's just been feeling like a season of not a lot of growth on top of the ground yet, but it's
Yeah.
coming.
Winter.
And yeah, I mean, I mean, it's like that with raising kids, families. We do majority of our work in the dark, but in the dark, in the soil is where some of the best work happens.
That's true. Well, I'm excited for the projects that are ahead. Everyone, make sure that you go check out the links in the description for the Forged from Fire Ministries, the Mullen It Over podcast. And I'm assuming, Vivian, you're going to keep us posted on those platforms when the book is out and where we can go purchase that, right?
Yes, I will. I will. I will.
Good, good. Make sure to keep everyone posted. Make sure to go follow and subscribe, you guys, here on the channel as well. Thank you so much for your time, Vivian, today, for sharing your wisdom, for mulling it over, and allowing me to be part of that. I really appreciate you and your time.
Thank you. It's been my honor to be here with you and to talk. And yeah, it really is my honor. I don't say that lightly. I love you so much and I'm proud of
Love
you.
you.
And
Thank you.
yeah, I just love it. It's great. You're having me
Thank
crying over
you.
here.
I love you, Kiwi.